This lesson is over multiplying proper fractions. A proper fraction has a numerator that is smaller than the denominator, like in 5/6 or 2/3. The numerator is the top number, smaller than the bottom number, the denominator. The product is the answer to multiplication. A factor or factors are numbers you multiply to get the product. So, for example, if I wanted to take 2 times 3 to get 6, 2 and 3 are the factors, 6 is the product. Or I could take 5/6 times 2/3, and those would be factors, and my product would be the answer when I multiply. In this case, 10/18 or 5/9. This is what our lesson is today, is how did we get these answers. First, let's review what a common factor is. A common factor is a number that divides evenly into both the numerator and the denominator. So we'll start by listing the factors of 12. We have 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. For 18, we have 1 times 18, 2 times 9, and 3 times 6. So common factors for 12 and 18 would be 1, 2, 3, 6. Those are factors that are in common. I can pick any one of those numbers to simplify 12/18. Let's say I want to choose 3. So if I divide both of these by 3, I would be simplifying down to 4/6. But 4/6 is not in simplest form, so I'd have to divide both of those by 2 again to get simplest form. If I would choose the greatest common factor to begin with, which in this case of all these common factors, 6 is my greatest, so I could choose the greatest common factor of 6 and take 12/18 divided by 6. I would get simplest form in one step, which is 2/3. That's what we would have gotten up here on top if I divided both of those by 2 again. I also would have gotten 2/3, just like down below. Before we look at multiplying fractions or proper fractions, we're going to first learn how it works and why by making models, and then we'll get into doing it and using our common factors. We're going to start by making a whole box, and I'm going to make this whole box, I'm going to color 2/3 of it. To do that, first I have to split it into thirds. Then I'm going to color in 2 of those 3 bars. So now I have 2/3 of my model covered. If I wanted to take half of these 2 bars right here, I would need to cut it right here. And when I take that half and I cut it right here, I only want to take either the top half of the 2 bars or the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and take the bottom half by coloring the bottom 2 squares down here with a different color. So I'm going to actually make X's on them to show that I'm going to take that half, this half of these 2/3. So now I've got 2 pieces marked with 2 colors, 2 pieces out of, instead of 3 bars now, or 3 equal pieces, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 equal pieces, and 2 of them are colored. So 1/2 of 2/3 equals 2/6. I would reduce that down by dividing by the greatest common factor of 2 to give me a final answer of 1/3. This time let's start with 4/5. I'm going to make 5 bars going down, and I'm going to color 4 of them. Pause the video while you try to find 1/3 of 3/8. So we're going to make 3/8 going one way and 1/3 going the other way. It doesn't really matter which side you put them on because multiplication is commutative. But since I said 1/3 of 3/8, we'll put the 3/8 here and the 1/3 here. So first you made 8 pieces and then you colored 3 of them. The other direction, we needed to have thirds. So I needed to make bars to make thirds. And of these 3/8 over here, I only want to take either this third or this third or this third. Just going to go ahead and take the bottom. So I've got 1, 2, 3 bars in that 1/3 down here. So I've got 3 bars, and I made 8 times 3 little pieces, which is 24 little pieces. So I've got 3 24s. Simplifying that, dividing those both by 3, I have a final answer of 1/8. When we were using the word of before, what we were really doing is multiplying. So half of 2/3 is the same as half times 2/3. And our answer for that came out to be 2/6, which reduced to 1/3. 2/3 of 4/5 would be 2/3 times 4/5. That came out to be 8/15, and that couldn't go any lower, so that was our final answer. Our final one was 1/3 of 3/8, so 1/3 times 3/8 gave us 3/24, which divided down to 1/8. In these number representations of our models, what's really happening is we're taking 1 times 2 to get our top number, and we're taking 2 times 3 to get our bottom number. We're simply multiplying the numerators to get the numerator and multiplying the denominators to get the denominator, and then we're finding the greatest common factor to simplify it down to 1/3. So in the next one we took 2 times 4 to get the 8, and we took 3 times 5 to get the 15. Down here we did 1 times 3 to get 3, and 3 times 8 to get 24. And then that reduced down to 1/8. Since I'm multiplying the numerators and multiplying the denominators, I could really switch these around and say this is 2 times 1. So I could have like 2/2, and 2/2 can be reduced down. Well, as long as one's on top and one's on the bottom, I can go ahead and reduce them right here. So I would take this 2 divided by 2 to make a 1, and this 2 divided by 2 to make a 1 right here. And then my 1's can't be simplified anymore with my 1 or 3, so I could just multiply that out now and get 1 times 1 on the top and 1 times 3 on the bottom. And it's already in simplest form as soon as I multiply because I simplified first. In this example, 2 can't reduce with 3 or 5 because there's nothing except 1 that's a common with it. And 4 doesn't have any common factors with 3 and 5 except for 1. So this one's already going to be in simplest form as soon as we multiply it. And we get 8/15, and we see that is indeed as low as it'll go. In the bottom one down here, I have another 3 that I could divide by 3 to get 1. And this 3 divided by 3 give me 1. And so my final answer down here would be 1 times 1 on the top, 1 times 8 on the bottom. And so I'm simplifying before I multiply. Pause the video and try these 2 problems. You can simplify before you multiply or after. There may be more than one way to go about simplifying. Always make sure the final answer is simple as it goes. In this one, I could divide 9 and 15 both by 3. On the top, I'd be left with 5, Down here I'd be left with 3. I can divide the 5 by 5 and the 25 by 5. That leaves me a 5 on the bottom and a 1 on the top. I could keep going and reduce this 5 and this 5 by dividing both those by 5 and getting 1 and 1. When I finally multiply, I take the numbers I have left, the 1 times 1 on the top and the 3 times 1 on the bottom, to get a final answer of 1/3. I could have multiplied in the beginning my 15 times 5, which would have been 75, and my bottom, my 9 times 25, which would have been 225. But those are so big and so much harder to simplify than doing it here. However, this gets a little bit confusing unless you write it out neatly so you can see what you're doing. In the bottom one down here, I can divide my 12 and my 18 both by 6 to get 2 and 3. Then I could do this 3 with this 6 by 3 to get 2, and dividing this one by 3 I get 1. And now I see that this 2 can't go with 1 or 15, neither can this one. So my final answer is going to be 2 times 2 on the top and 1 times 15 on the bottom. And looking at that, that is as low as I can go.